Hello everyone, this is Prem Kumar. Today I want to talk about the Pega GenAI blueprint. I will separate this video into two parts. One, the non-technical discussion. We'll start with creating blueprint and we do a lot of things. And at the end, we'll also have some technical deep dive to see how Pega uses this blueprint at the back end. Let me start with some honest feelings about blueprint. When Pega introduced this blueprint in 2024, what I thought at that point is it is more like another GenAI use case that helps with the developer productivity. This was my feeling or my thinking when Pega blueprint got introduced. But if you look back for the last 1 year, there have been significant turnaround around these blueprint capabilities. And in the last Pega world, there was a famous slogan, no sprint without blueprint. Let's also understand some reality behind it. First, why do we need to use a blueprint? I would request you, if you are a developer, like a hardcore developer, just come one step back. Don't think only from the developer point of view. On a very high level, Pega Blueprint can help to bridge the gap between the business and IT. And Pega Blueprint can be used during the initial phases of Pega Express delivery methodology. If you haven't heard about the Pega Express delivery methodology, I would recommend you to go through the Pega Academy content. There they have some nice missions as well as some toolkit that can help you with a successful Pega delivery. And the main aim of Pega Express delivery methodology is to bring the business and IT together, and Blueprint is going to be their go-to platform to achieve that. When you start with any kind of MLP or when you use some kind of design sprints, you can't be doing it without the Pega blueprints. That's the rationale behind no sprint without blueprint. And blueprint definitely going to accelerate the time to market as well as to do the transformation of your legacy systems. And one point from a developer point of view, it is going to help with the constellation adoption. If you are really looking for the constellation adoption and when there is a new application scope, start with blueprint. Do not miss it. Let me share my own personal experience. Recently, I got some opportunity to demo this blueprint to a business people who don't use Pega. It means in their department, Pega is not there. But when they got introduced to these blueprint capabilities, when they got introduced to this low-code platform and where the business people can also contribute a lot, they were awestruck. They liked the Pega low-code platform to the extent that one of the person, he straight away went to Pega Academy and enrolled for the business architect course. Because at the end, blueprint is not just about recommending case types, right? It helps with gathering the requirements. It helps the business people to understand, or it already gives some template. Just a honest remark, it is always nice and easy to start with template instead of scratch, right? Pega is doing that. Pega is having the Pega platform, Pega frameworks, everything gives us a template on which we can build upon. Similarly, the blueprint, it also gives the template for the business people to do the brainstorm, to make the business requirement very clear, and also to understand the design of the applications. Okay, now let me quickly walk you through the process of creating a new blueprint. So here I am into the pega.com/blueprint. There you can find the landing page from where you can create the blueprints. And a small tip, make sure you sign up and log in into the pega.com, because you will also have a dashboard through which you can find the history of blueprints which you created. Just click build a blueprint. It will lead to the dashboard landing page. And from here you can already see I've tried different blueprints lately. Let me start with creating a new blueprint. And I'm just going to walk you through the entire steps. The very first question it asks is, which industry is your application is for? Now, Pega has a template for different industries. For example, if you go to banking, and then if you go to next, there you find a lot of sub-industries. You can think it more like kind of a framework kind of thing, like a blueprint templates. Let's go to the consumer services. There you have something on different sub-industries on these consumer goods. Let me create one for the banking, my previous organization. So under the banking, you have different sub-industries. So I'm going with the retail bank. And then you can also choose the department or function. So here I can say lending. You have the customer service. So this is something which is very important. Like if you want to create a customer service application, you can also do it. You have this option of customer service. Go to the asset management. There also you have the option of customer service. Under different sub-industry, you will have an option to create customer service on that. Under retail banking, I'm not going to create customer service, but I will try to create a collections department. So I will use this collection department. One more important thing to note is not only at this step, even the before step, you have this option of uploading the supporting assets. This has evolved a lot in the latest versions, but let's check this upload supporting assets. Just click here. You will get an option to upload different types of assets. One is requirement document. If you want to build an application for the very first time, you may have different types of requirements for it, right? Like business people, they may have the requirement. Just put it into your file and upload it here. It can accept PDF, document, or text. Similarly, for the data schemas and integration, if you already identify the data and integration, like in the Pega Express delivery methodology, in the very first discover phase, we will do that. Now in the prepare phase, you can again use the blueprint. You may already have some details. For example, the OpenAI specification you may have, or the DDL file. If you are transforming a legacy system, you may have the DDL file for the legacy system. You can just get it and create your data model based on it. So that is possible. Code analysis tool is also possible. If you want to do some code analysis of any Java application or any kind of legacy systems, that is also supported. Legacy application media, or if you just screen record the application and upload it as an MP4 or any kind of image or a media file, it can also be processed. Process diagrams. If you have any BPMN file, normally the architects, they'll be creating all those models, right? So if you have that as a source, Blueprint can use it and design the applications. Additional assets, or if you have another Blueprint also supports extending an existing application using Blueprint. So you can also upload a Blueprint or any other additional assets. So what do these supporting assets do is, it helps the Pega GenAI Blueprint to build the application in the more right way, in the more contextual way, or like what you expect. That's how these supporting assets can help the Blueprint. So you can upload any kind of supporting assets as well. Okay, and then finally, application purpose. Again, this is another template. So under the collections, I have only one application purpose. Maybe for different sub industry, you may find different application purpose. Just choose it. Okay, now you may get a question. What if I want to create a separate applications, right? Just go back and then use other, for example. If you use other, then you will get an option to create your own, and it automatically populated the functional description. This can be definitely changed, and the other attributes are language and location. This should be fine. Let's go to the next stage. So now what it does is, Pega uses some AI agents, call it as Blueprint agents, that is designing the collections process. You will see it gathers the requirement, builds the workflows, builds the data model, and tailor the personas. Now it is generating the blueprint. You will see it very shortly. First, let's start with the workflow. So this is just the case types or the workflows. Lot of workflows are created, at least like 10 workflows are created. For the simplicity of this demo, maybe I'm going to use only the schedule plan. So what you can do is, you can either edit the case type or you can delete the case type. If you want to edit the case type, you can upload any BPMN file. So if you want to do some changes based on specific BPMN file, you can also upload it here, and then you can regenerate the case file. For now, I'll just quickly delete everything. You always have an option to generate more. I'm not going to do that. I just cleaned up a lot of things. Let's go to the next step. And here you can now define the workflow details. When you have multiple case type, you can just switch it. But I have a single case type here, and you can already see the case lifecycle for it. So it created 5 stages for me, and you can also find the case data model. One interesting thing to note here is, Pega also do a relationship with different data model. If you click here, view relationship, you will find that the work level properties, it refers to different data type like financial account, customer, payment plan. There are different data types which it referred to, and the properties are also correctly created, and these are all related to the Constellation standard properties. Eventually this will help with creating a Constellation application. From here, same like you can add field, generate more fields. From case lifecycle, you can edit the case lifecycle. There are some settings where you can decide which field should be displayed in the create stage, like capturing the details. You can say if you want any child case, if there is any kind of attachments if you need. Most of these things can be configured from the App Studio, but now you have this option also to do it from the Blueprint. Okay, now let's go to the next stage, data and integration. Again, Pega now populated a lot of data. We already saw these data are referred into the case type. There are different types of data. You can also check the data model from here. What are the properties? What is the description? What is the data type of the property? If you want, again, add or generate. You can also delete it, and you can also import a data definition. We already talked about that. It can support OpenAPI or DDL. You can also do that. And finally, personas, which is also very important when you define your MLP, like which personas will get access to the application under which stage. All these personas also pre-populated. Do the same thing. Let's go to the features. So features, you can define which channels to engage, whether you have to use message, voice, email. If you want to use artificial intelligence, most of the things are kind of off. You can also switch it on. For some of the things like knowledge buddy, you may need to have the license from Pega, but for blueprint it's fine. So it gives different category or different features which you can enable, and then you can go to next. Now we are at the end where the blueprint file got created. You have the option to download the blueprint, but before that, just to preview your app, if you want to do some adjustment, you can always do it from here, and you can also scroll down for different channels and then experience how your application is going to look and feel. So once this is done, you can just download the blueprint file, and this will just get downloaded. A new file of extension .blueprint gets created. We'll talk about this blueprint little in detail technically close to the end of this lecture. Okay, now you saw a blueprint got created. The next step is I can now import this blueprint and create the application. So this will provide me as a template or a starting point. Let's go to the App Studio. Let's start with creating a new application. You can also extend the application with blueprint. I will touch it very shortly. Like, let's say you want to create a new application. Upload the blueprint file, and this blueprint file will be parsed, and you will already see the blueprint details here. Let's go to the next one. Case type. I have only one case type defined. For the case type and data type, you have an option to build it from blueprint, or you can just say do not build it. So if a situation occurs where you really want to drop some of the data type, very well you can do it from here. You can say do not build, but for now let's just say build from blueprint. Let's continue and accept everything. At the end, it's like a normal screen which you see whenever you create an application, right? Every developer can recognize this screen. I'm just going to blindly create an application. It will take few minutes for sure to generate all the application, and if your blueprint is kind of heavy, like if you included some 10 case types, 10 data types, or if you generated more, definitely it's going to take more time. So let's wait for some time and then come back and see the application. Okay, somehow today the application is not getting created. I tried multiple times because I'm also using Pega Community Editions. I find there can be some issues or it takes more time. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause here, because I already created another application using blueprint. Maybe I'll use that to show you how to extend an application as well. Let me just quickly do a refresh. And this is the application which I created using blueprint. Here you have an option to export as a blueprint, right? Just do an export as a blueprint. So it automatically created a new blueprint file for us. Using this blueprint, if you want to extend it, upload it into the Pega GenAI blueprint, add some features like add a case type, add the data model, do some changes, and you come back, extend your application. Then again you can go here, extend the application using blueprint and upload the same updated blueprint file, and from there you can also update it. Say how this will help is, let's say if you are building the application for the very first time using blueprint, you build this application completely, and as a next MLP you want to add some more features to it, you can just export it and start all over again using the blueprint by importing the blueprint file as the supporting artifact, and then do the changes, create a new blueprint file, come back and then extend the application with the blueprint file. That will help you with extending the application. Okay, now it's time to look into some technical details. The first thing, let's start with the blueprint file. Pega created the file as .blueprint. First, let's check the content of this blueprint file. As you can already see, the data is kind of encrypted, or it's not human readable, right? Yeah, so you cannot just easily open a blueprint file in any editor and read it. Let's check how Pega created it. You can see Pega shipped with the different rule sets that are dedicated for the blueprint. So if you just scroll down, you will find the activity which actually does this encryption part. For example, open this activity, process blueprint file, that you will clearly understand Pega uses the system encryption key. So the main advantage of system encryption key is you can encrypt this blueprint file only into the Pega platform. It's not a base 64 encoded which can be easily decoded. This is encrypted with the system encryption key. It means only Pega platform can decrypt and then access the data. And you can also clearly see it has all this JSON structure, and from the JSON structure it is easily mappable to the Pega properties, and from there we create the case. So when you create a new blueprint file, it is getting encrypted using Pega's master encryption key. Okay, now we are creating all this blueprint into pega.com, right? Then how come this blueprint file gets encrypted? There is a Pega server behind it. Let's quickly check it out. If you just use your developer tools, there you will find that each of this stage, Pega makes an API call to a server. You can already see the domain name www.pega.com, and then it is DCOAI/EU. So somewhere a Pega is deployed into the EU region, and then it exposes the API. So API v1 data, definitely you know this is a Pega API. So there is a Pega server running, and that uses the data page like d_sample status. So how Pega did this architecture is, Behind this blueprint, Pega has its own server, a Pega server, and Pega has a case type for it. Blueprint, as you can see the case IDs, right? So definitely there is a case type dedicated for this blueprint. And whenever we go through different stages, we actually invoke or use the GenAI which is configured into that server. So Pega makes all the prompt and it hits into their own GenAI models, like kind of foundation models, and then get the response back to us, and that is displayed to us. And this is also constellation based because it uses web embeds, and you can clearly see the data structure behind it. It's all DX API call and the data pages are getting referenced. So this is definitely a nice architecture, and as you can see, Pega keeps adding some new features. It means they keep adding to their own server, the Pega server. That's what we see it as a blueprint. Okay, now there is some important thing which we have to clarify. We can upload different type of artifacts, right? If Pega blueprint is a Pega application, and if you are uploading and it creates a case type for you, definitely these attachments are stored within the case types, right? So Pega stores it into their own file storage. Now the question can be like, will there be any kind of GDPR issues? And I seen a recent post from Don saying that they don't store those attachments. So we have to take that word as well. Definitely they may be having some data retention policy, or they may be already cleaning up the data. So that should be fine. But maybe as a good practice, I believe everyone will be doing that. Not uploading any kind of sensitive data, not only on Pega GenAI meant, like any kind of OpenAI or any kind of foundation models. You should always be careful what type of data you are feeding it. Okay, now we know that there is a Pega server behind it, a kind of a single Pega server. Maybe it has a huge resource because anyone can access that server and create blueprint, right? So definitely high resourceable Pega blueprint server is running in some data centers, and the changes which we see, the improvements are getting developed by the Pega engineering support team. They concentrate on building that blueprint application, and whatever changes were done, it's getting reflected into our blueprint, like the screens which you see. Now it's also important for the technical people and also for business people to be on top of the release notes from Pega blueprint. How to check the release notes? Just like how you will see another Pega product release notes, you have to go to docs.pega.com, and there you will find the release notes. Let me scroll to the very bottom, and from there we can get up. Like in 2024, this is the screen, I believe, where I created my first video, the Pega blueprint video. And this has evolved like anything, right? What you can see here, slowly it changed. And a big improvement came when Pega started accepting the BPMN as the supporting model. I believe, yeah, it came on July 2024, and from there it took off. Like every month we will see a lot of new improvements coming in, lot of language supports you can see, and this have eventually landed into 2025 enhancements where multiple processes are getting supported together with the full screen preview as well. So keep an eye on this one. As you can see here, every month they have some release, so new things are getting introduced. Keep an eye, it's going to evolve drastically. Okay, now we talked a lot about the advantages, the new features of blueprint. Maybe there can be some improvements coming in the later point of time. The one improvement which I think maybe not very soon, maybe at the later point of time, is to have this blueprint as kind of more a multi-tenant architecture. How we have the PDC, right? So PDC, all customers can access PDC, but the data will not be kind of shared. Although currently Pega have the data centers, EU specific data centers, but still, if this can be little bit improved, maybe we are not at that stage like every organization started using blueprint. When no sprint without a blueprint becomes a reality, then definitely these blueprints need to be deployed at different places. Maybe a design change to make it more as a multi-tenant architecture so that the customers will not be worrying much about their own data, like for example the attachments. And the second, which I think is more on the modularization or the componentization. So that's how we are moving towards, right? And currently at this moment, blueprint suggests the application a single application, but maybe once we get into this multi-tenant architecture, we may have access to our own component applications, enterprise applications. It can design it little bit more efficiently. It is doing very good, but it can be improved. So that's why I see maybe this change, if it comes into the picture, that will be again another game changer in the blueprint. But this is just my wish, and I'm going to keep an eye closely how blueprint is evolving. With this video, if your view on blueprint changes, please leave the comment. See you in the next video.